What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Prizepicks video. Super excited to get into this Monday Night Football slate. Couple good things, couple bad things on the slate. Definitely see some things I like, see some things I don't like. They really need to update Carson Wentz's picture here because he's still got that Eagles jersey on. But we're going to go through these guys. If you're new to the channel or new to Prizepicks, let me just give you my little synopsis that I give every single video. Prizepicks is a sports betting, essentially fantasy platform where you can bet on the overs and unders of players instead of just betting on the players themselves. So when you do DraftKings, you lock in, whatever you want to lock in, Zeke at $7,200, and you hope he does well for you. Well, here you pick a player like Lamar Jackson at 22.5 fantasy points, and you decide whether you think he's going to go over or under on that. And you pair that a couple different times, like a parlay. The more times you pair it, higher risk, higher reward, that kind of deal. But it's really cool in that aspect, and you can do it with single stats as well, and you can also do it through multiple sports, which you guys know I love doing with MMA, pairing MMA and football. Let's get a quick look at this. Let's go over to fantasy score. Let's see what we got. Anything interesting? And nothing popping off the page for me right away. But yeah, interesting. Love doing that. Guys, if you do sign up for Prizepicks, please use code DGF. It helps us, supports the channel, and actually helps you guys too, because if you do use our promo DGF, you'll get a 100% bonus or a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. So if you deposit $100, you'll get $100 credit back. Pretty cool in that aspect. So it's just free money, guys. Free money to play with, up to $100. You don't have to deposit the full 100, but obviously the more you deposit, the more you get back. So something to think about, guys. But yeah, it's really cool. I've been really actually loving Prizepicks lately, and let's get right into it. So single stats, we're going to talk about a couple different ones here. I'm looking at the passing yards for both quarterbacks. Both of those don't really interest me. Obviously, Carson Wentz is more of a passer than Lamar Jackson. Both defenses have been pretty decent against the pass as a whole this year. Carson Wentz is not nearly as talented as Lamar Jackson as a player right now, but he does throw more, so that one's kind of even for me, but I don't have too much interest there. Going over to rushing yards, I do like Jonathan Taylor over 56.5. The Ravens are a stingy defense against the run, but they're still allowing 85 yards per game against the run. And to be honest, they haven't played any real bell cow backs. I mean, they played the Broncos, the Chiefs, Raiders, and the Lions. And I know like Swift is great, but he's more of a pass catcher. Josh Jacobs is, I'm not too scared of Josh Jacobs these days. Broncos are in a committee of, two okay running backs right now. Chiefs has CEH. Every team you can make an argument has a good running back or a decent running back, this and everything. But when you actually look at like how many teams have really good running backs, I wouldn't consider one of those teams one of them. Maybe, Swift has that juice, but they have not played these elite running defenses, and they're still allowing, almost 90 yards per game to opposing runners. So I don't hate Jonathan Taylor over. Jonathan Taylor's still averaging almost 70 yards per game this year. That is how this team is going to have to be, run and efficient. They have a good defense. When you have a good defense, you want to kill some clock, kind of like, like Cleveland does every day. You know what I mean? You want to kill the clock, unlike last Sunday where they ended up in a absolute bloodbath shootout, but their goal is to keep it low scoring, keep it tight, kind of like San Fran does, and the way you do that is run the ball efficiently. So they do want to still run through Jonathan Taylor, and he is getting an uptick in his usage, which is great to see. Lamar Jackson at 61.5. Usually I would actually take the over here, but I'm going to go under here. He runs best when they're in a close game, and not that this can't be a close game, and it should be somewhat competitive, but if you look, like, they beat Denver pretty solid last week. He had less than 30 rushing yards against them, and in the shootout against the Chiefs and stuff like that, I think is when he had his best game. Let's see that real quick. Actually, let's see Lamar Jackson's stats. How many rushing yards did he have against the Chiefs? Lamar Jackson against the Chiefs. That was a really obviously crazy game. And he had 107 rushing yards. Yes, you see 86 rushing yards against the Raiders in another very close game. And then these lower octane games, 19-17, 23-7, 58 rushing yards, 28 rushing yards. Obviously, the temps aren't there when he was in double digits the first 2 weeks. So a lot of it is game script for Lamar Jackson. I don't think, obviously he wants to be a better, thrower this year. And, that's not going to happen if they're down a ton, because he's going to have to put the team on his back. We know that. So I just think he could be under 61.5. I'm not super confident, but that's my reasoning. Receiving yards, I don't love any of these too much. I like Marquise Brown at 55.5, though, is my favorite. Still no Rashad Bateman. Still waiting on his debut. It's not coming yet. So Xavier Rhodes is back. He's healthy, but still, Xavier Rhodes is still good, but they have no Yasin tonight. Brown has looked really good so far, averaging 82 receiving yards and 5 receptions per game. So this is pretty far under his average, and I definitely think he's in a good spot to clear that in this game. Moving over to fantasy score. I'll be honest, nothing pops off the page right now as fantasy score. I'm just going to hit you with a couple things that I just noticed that were like just stat-wise. 22.5 for Lamar Jackson. 2021, Lamar Jackson has not cleared 20 points more than once this year in his 4 games. So he's actually been under 20 points in 3 games, which is kind of surprising. But something to think about. Michael Pittman Jr. has actually averaged 12.9 points a game with 0 touchdowns. Also something to think about. His average is higher than that with 0 touchdowns. So, positive regression is coming. He's going to get a touchdown eventually. Something to think about. Other ones, receiving votes. Jonathan Taylor, I think 15 is low for him, just historically speaking. Obviously, no Quentin Nelson, all that stuff hurts his production, his value overall, but I still think he's good. Pascal's been playing pretty good as a whole at 8.5. It's not terrible. Mark Andrews is always due for a touchdown. Naheem Hines, he's just one of those receiving backs who's in I don't want to say committee, but it's 50-50 with him. I mean, he could clear, he could not clear. Neither would surprise me. I think we can all agree on that. Sammy Watkins, the biggest nightmare in fantasy ever. And, Latavius Murray's a little interesting just for the sole fact that, and this is something I definitely want to look into a little more up until lock, but Tyson Williams was a healthy scratch last week, and they really leaned on Latavius Murray. So kind of a weird, cloudy backfield right there. That could be one that he easily clears if he just gets bell cow duties again. If not, then obviously not, but something to consider. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you did like it, please subscribe, and smash that notification bell. And definitely, if you sign up for Prizepicks, use code DGF. Should be a good night tonight. Fun little game. And I'll tell you right now, I need 30 points for my season long, Ravens D, Tucker, and Jonathan Taylor. I need 30 points. Doable? Is it? Yes. Is it expected? Probably not. But let's hope for it. So have a good rest of your night, guys, and watch this game. And let's cash.